I am the Notherian, and I'm pleased to have here with me today DarksoulSP. Dark Soul is one of the final 8 in the Forgewatch Invitational. He earned his spot last Friday in the first pool. Welcome, Dark Soul.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm flattered to be here. I really am.
Yeah, it was obviously a rough road for you, a long,
Oh,
grueling Friday, but you did incredibly well.
thank you. Yeah, it was. It really was quite a field to make it in the finals of the last one, get knocked down, and still manage to pull it out. It was took a lot out of me. I'll tell you that. It was a fun time.
Yeah, sometimes these tournaments can be a bit of a endurance test as well.
Oh
So,
gosh, yeah.
so I have your deck list here in front of me for the people who are watching, and when I look at your deck list, so I see a common core of Weirwood Patriarch, Thundersoar, Ferocious Roar, which have been all that core has been very key in the current metagame. But then
Absolutely.
paired with that, I see like the Grimgaunt Devourer, the Grimgaunt Predator, and a whole bunch of removal, which is not something I see paired very often with that Utera core. So can you talk a little bit about your decision?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, following the patch, a lot of cards changed. The savants changed, new cards were added, and so it really, it really threw quite a wrench into what I knew, from the game SolForge, right? So I have a few teammates, Axel and Tanda, two other, qualifiers, and as well another friend Shiraz, and the four of us, kind of played together and did a lot of testing and tweaking. And then the first thing that really stood out to us was just the sheer strength of Werewood Patriarch. I mean, that card is absolutely powerful, a really game-ending card, and especially when paired up with Thundersoar, the two of them seemed to me just the most powerful combination of cards that you could ask for right now.
Hmm.
And fortunately, they're both in the same faction, so that opens up a lot of different outlooks and choices that you can make. I noticed that most people are going for the Aloyan route, and obviously getting buffing up your battle technician and your synapsis oracles really goes a long way in terms of both just aggression and just your late game as well.
Hmm.
But for me, I found that just getting one Thundersoar to go berserk was enough to really swing a game in your favor. And so for me, I built my deck with Thundersoar as well, obviously. But I found I needed a lot of different ways to respond to an opposing Thundersoar, as well as not, as well as being strong against the rest of the field. And I felt that Necrium was a good way to do that.
So what do you think are the key cards that made you decide that Necrium was the right thing to pair with Thundersoar and Patriarch?
Yeah, this is going to sound very controversial, but Blightwalker, actually, Blightwalker was the first card that really stood out to me as a card that will always be able to handle a Thundersoar, as well as handling most things as long as there's no armor as well.
So it's funny that you should say that because we hosted a tournament series last fall before the patch in the old metagame, and I don't think I saw any Blightwalkers in
No,
top decks.
definitely not, especially with the Savants running around. I mean, Blightwalker was absolutely not a competitive card at all, and it, it it's kind of difficult to say whether he still is. I mean, obviously, I used him, and he did perform very well. But being level-based removal is always it's never really the best solution, for issues at hand. But it's really the only thing that you can do in response to another Thundersoar, because sometimes they'll get way too big in your Dreadbolt. You might not have your level Dreadbolt in time. But what's nice about Blightwalker is that you can drop him as a creature, as a body, pretty reliably in game one or in rank one, and still be able to count on him to deal with level 2 and 3 Thundersoars as the game progresses.
Hmm. And also, when I look at interesting cards that you chose to include, Witherfrost Succubus is another
Yeah,
one that saw essentially no play last fall.
yeah, definitely. It's funny too. I've always enjoyed the Succubus. In fact, before the patch, I messed around with the Succubus in my Savant brews just because I thought that it was very criminally underrated. I mean, it's a card that does not need to be leveled up aggressively. The level 1 Succubus is still pretty relevant at all points of the game.
Hmm.
But Succubus is really nice because, well, to be honest, the main reason I chose it is because Werewood buffs it.
Uh,
Obviously, that's like kind of the core of the deck. Is I have my Patriarchs that are They're giving strength to the Thundersaurs. They're giving strength to Blightwalker, so they can't be epidemic, or perhaps they can hit through armor. And just making the Succubus bigger turns it into quite an early game threat. And Succubus really starts to do a lot of work in combination with the Gloom Reaper Witch, my Coals, and the Predators as well.
Yeah. So I think we'll play a game here shortly in order to see your deck in action. But I was wondering if you could say a little bit more about the matchups that you had on Friday. Any that you felt any matchups you felt your deck worked particularly well in, matchups that were especially difficult for you?
I'll tell you right now, his name was JMO, and I actually played him twice in the tournament. I played him once in the upper bracket and in the finals of the lower bracket as well. But he was playing a fairly traditional Drawforge deck. It had one Drix, which I'm sure if he had more copies, he'd probably be playing more of. But he played one Drix, obviously the full Gox package, the full Avatar, Aloyan Avatar package, and I felt very bad. It was very, very, very clearly in my favor. It's the deck that he was playing is it's very difficult to deal with a Thundersaur that's going out of control. The only way that he could deal with it is with a timely epidemic. That's the only way to avoid all the trample damage. But Thundersaur can handle the level 1 avatars pretty okay. He can handle just about any of them really, and in combination with Succubuses that go through armor and just Predators that get big and can move around, it was a very favorable matchup for me. And so I have to admit I breathed a sigh of relief when I saw him in the finals of the lowers, just because I knew that it was very, very clearly in my favor. But I think one of the more exciting matches that I played against was against I guess it was Tristan, right, using Justice's account.
Yep.
Yeah, he was playing a Necrium Tempest, kind of an old school, moving around with Predators and obviously the Phoenix and actually Windborn Hellion, which I guess was kind of his big tech for that deck. That deck was actually really interesting to play against. I'll tell you right now, if you look at my list, you can see like I'm playing 3 Coals, one Gloom Reaper Witch, pretty ridiculous, and even like a Doomwing, just to try and handle the opposing Thundersaur matchup. That was really the number one deck that I felt would be played by everyone coming in, and so it really surprised me to see on Friday that I was playing against quite a few decks that didn't have Thundersaur, and so for his deck it was kind of difficult for me because it wasn't really a matchup that I tested out very much. And they were very, very incredible games. I mean, game 1 ended with both of us going in the negatives. Him by I believe 2 points more than me, and it was actually it was very intense too because it ultimately came down whether or not he had the Fervent Assault to move his level 3 Hellion and kill me. It was very, 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 very intense.
Any game that ends with both players at negative life is a good game in my book.
Absolutely, a great game in my book as well. Yeah, but that deck was, I actually feel that deck is a lot stronger than I would have given it credit for. Especially, obviously, Phoenix is getting a well-timed pre-rank 3 activation is enough to really swing a game. But I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that we were able to offer some exciting matches on the stream.
Yeah, so I just sent you an invite to a online friend match, and we'll get a chance to show everyone watching the video your deck in action.
Fantastic. Let me pop it up. By the way, I don't know if deck names matter or not, but I named my deck Daddy's Nightmare.
Daddy's Nightmare. Okay.
Daddy's Nightmare. The Patriarch's the daddy, right? He's the head guy. And basically all the scary Necrim cards are his bad dreams, all these dinosaurs that are trying to trample all over him, and Succubuses, alluring him, and Doomwings flying around. So, whoops.
I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong deck, so I'm just.
Okay.
I'm going to reissue quickly since I did not want to play the mirror match. I actually want you to show off your deck against. I'm going to play an Loyan Utera deck, which is one of the other common Thundersword decks in this metagame, and you
Yeah,
can.
I would say the most common for
Yeah,
sure.
I certainly I think that we have four. So there's four Utera Aloyan decks in the top 8 next week. There's some
Yes.
fairly key differences between those decks,
Yeah, one of
but
probably a little more robot based than others, or
yeah, right. And this one happens to be, just because of my own prejudices, a little bit more of a robot themed one. So you should have my challenge now.
oh, that's good. Yeah, it's actually really interesting to me. I I I actually did a few texts for the Uteran matchup as well. Like that's what my one Doomwing is, which
Hmm.
I'm sure might have seemed odd to a few people. I think Doomwing's a very strong card when Epidemic is not an issue at level 1. And Doomwing was really doing a lot of work for me in my testing against the Aloyan matchup. And I actually feel that the Necreum deck has a favorable matchup compared to the Aloyan version. But
Mm. Hmm.
but seeing people go, yeah, exactly, Gargoyle, darn, yeah, seeing people focus on the gargoyles really gave it a hard time for me because gargoyle can't just be killed by my Blightwalkers really easily. So it's interesting. It'll
Yeah.
it'll it'll definitely be fun to see how it progresses.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm pleased that we have a nice variety of decks for the top 8 next weekend. I think no one is playing anything really at
too
all similar to
ridiculous.
what you're playing.
That's true. Oh yeah, actually that's a good point. Let's see. Yeah, I have several options in this hand right here.
Uh,
So it'll be basically any of them could work out pretty okay. Well, I think I have to do that just because
oh,
that's my only answer to the gargoyle. And
sure.
we'll level up a patriarch as well.
Uh, yeah, I suppose you don't get any benefit from the Patriarch buff, but on the other hand, the next time you draw it, I think uh, Patriarch 2 triggers on
Yeah,
5 power or less.
it sets about everything in the deck that's level 1 except for Doomwing, which is
Mhm.
always very nice. In fact, that's one of the reasons I like patriarch so much is just because it handles it handles poor draws very well. It lends for some nice variance control.
Right.
Um,
Which is one of the things that the Shaper deck really had going for it in the
Absolutely,
tournament
yeah.
season last
Leveling up your
fall.
level 2s and
Hmm.
not leveling up Static Shocks, obviously, yeah. All right, let's see. Ah, yeah, those gargoyles are always so killer. So let's try this. And
Okay.
let's try and dissuade you from dropping a battle technician. Oh, jeez.
Yes, so as everyone who's watching can see, I do have a Battle Tactician in my hand.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, because and
We'll see. You might still play it. It's obviously a strong card, so
uh-huh.
we'll see what happens.
So let's. Uh, so I think I want to get out an Arc Flight Squadron, and then I'm gonna do the Battle Tactician. Although that trade isn't going to work out for me unless I draw well next turn.
All right. Well, I think I have to get that gargoyle kill just because it'll get a little too out of control.
Hmm.
Um, my lovely Cole. Gosh, I think Cole has become the best level 1 removal in the game right now. Just Cole has become a very nice card.
Yeah, and
I don't-
so in the last patch, so first of all, the metagame shifted incredibly after the last patch, but
oh
also
yes,
they raised the level 2 call from 7 attack to 8 attack.
yeah, big difference actually.
Yeah, those one number changes can really have a huge effect on how useful a card is.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, I actually, hmm. Just to level it up, I think. Even though the trade is already going in my favor, I think leveling up pulls are a pretty good idea against this deck.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Uh,
The Matrix. Ooh. All right.
yeah, so
Perhaps
then
another battle technician coming down, or let's see.
Bright Steel Sentinel.
Oh, nice. Just as well.
I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, you've got great use for your succubus this turn, though. I don't. Yeah, great. I think Matrix Warden is. I think Matrix Warden is another one of those cards that improved significantly in the latest
yes.
patch. But yeah, but with the 3 health, you're going to get good use out of your succubus. And there's the Thundersaur.
And there's quite a few deaths coming down this turn, so I think I'll set that up.
Excellent.
Rats. Yeah, those Sentinels are very powerful cards.
Yeah, some of the Weirwood decks like playing the Sentinel with more of the robot theme. Some of them don't. But yeah, when you draw the Sentinel in the right time, you can really have a big effect on the board. Yep.
All right. I wish this could have gone just a little bit better, but giving Thundersaur a little push is not too bad. And leveling up Patriarchs are always a big goal of this deck.
Yeah, and in particular, yeah, this isn't gonna. So I'm going to play the Patriarch just to level it. Then, yeah, because the Thunderstore is starting at 2 instead of starting at 0, he's going to kill the Bright Steel in 2 attacks instead of requiring 3. So that, yeah, the +2/+2 can make such a difference with a Thundersaur.
Oh, so I have to ask. I saw that Whitefire was playing a Tempest Uteran version of the deck. Did he manage to qualify? I didn't manage to watch.
Yeah, so Whitefire was actually, I think, one of the big surprises in the sense that I certainly didn't see his deck coming, and look forward to talking to him later this week. But he did qualify. He was at the actually the top of the Sunday pool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
yeah, it's great. I had actually I spent a lot of time testing the Tempest version of Patriarch, and I actually loved it. I thought it was a great deck. But my issue was against this deck that you're playing right here with just any Aloyan version, regardless if it's robots or not, just seemed like a very, very bad matchup, and I didn't want to walk into the field with that. But clearly it's still a very good deck. So
yeah,
I too am excited to see what he has to say.
Yeah, in particular, yeah, he figured out some tech to give his Utera Tempest the little edge it needed against Aloyan. And to be honest, I'm not sure what that tech is, and I'd love to hear his insight. So you'll have to watch for
I'll
that
look forward to
later
hearing that too. All right, let's see. This is not looking too good. Setting myself up for a War Charger Tactician doesn't seem very good. Boy, and never really a good turn when you have to you have to get rid of a War Charger. Oh.
Yeah, so it's not. On the other hand, the 20/8 Thunderstore is going to get you some damage through.
That is true.
So I think I play my Arc Flight Squadron. Yeah, so I think I'm going to play my Arc Flight Squadron into the empty lane, Matrix Warden on the Bright Steel, and just take a ton of breakthrough damage.
All right. Don't really have a choice there, unfortunately. Can't let you get 2 activations. Gosh, yeah, those gargoyles are definitely the biggest problem for me. It'll be hard to deal with those on in the next stage, but oh well.
But of course, I draw nothing that takes your succubus off the field, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I
it's surprising to see how even a lowly 1/6 can become very formidable with those patriarchs.
Indeed. So I'm not going to take the Weirwood trade. Instead, I'm going to let's do it this way. Roar 1 on the Bright Steel.
Ah, well done. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't really have a choice here actually, because I don't have any way of interacting with that gargoyle.
Mm-hmm.
So, hmm. Hmm. Well, level 1 Thundersaur is better than nothing.
Indeed. I suppose it levels up the Thundersaur, which is important. So what, unfortunately, this might be a mistake, but with you about to draw level 3 cards, I think I want the Grimgon off the board.
Yeah,
I think that could,
I agree with that play.
yeah, it could get ugly quickly. I hate to give up my Gargoyle, but I think I need to. Then
Brutal.
take your Patriarch off the field and kill the Succubus. Don't have an answer for the Thundersaur, which means that if you now toss out a Patriarch 3, that Thundersaur could be problematic.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did get a fairly powerful draw there.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
Sorry about that.
no. That's I mean this is
That's
why it's a good deck. Again,
Yeah.
the ability to come back is important with crazy player level 3 draws. Excellent. So. Sentinel Roar. So I certainly take some damage from the Thundersaur, but the Sentinel should be able to get rid of him.
Boy, this is a little frustrating for me. I have a level 2 Thundersaur in my hand, but unfortunately not enough to deal with that Matrix Warden. He'll just die in one hit.
Yeah, that's not the right turn for the
No,
yeah.
no, it's not. I'm also seeing my level 2 Dreadbolt, which loves to show up when it's when it's not needed.
Yep.
A shame too. I didn't. I definitely would have leveled it up rank 2 if I had seen it.
Yep.
Oh gosh, this is the biggest waste I've ever seen of a Devourer. But
Oh.
that's my only way to deal with
Yeah.
that. Hmm. Well, I've already dropped 2 of my Patriarchs this round, so dropping that Thundersaur is a little frightening. Um, Ouch. All right, well, yeah, this could very well be a misplay as well, but I think I'll try and go in the
Oh.
aggression right here.
Interesting. Yeah, so actually, um, given that I only have one high attack creature in my hand, that was an excellent play.
Ah,
That was definitely an excellent play. So yeah, I need. Yeah, that was just game. Wow,
those are
excellent.
really
So I play Gargoyle opposite your Thundersaur, and Bright Steel Sentinel. I can therefore avoid dying to the Thundersaur.
But the Patriarch's still around.
Patriarch's going to kill me. I don't. So somebody in the comment section of the YouTube video is going to tell me that there was a play I had that would have kept me alive one turn longer, but
it's always tough in retrospect. Yeah.
Yeah,
But great game, Natherian. Wow.
no, but thanks a lot. I mean, in particular, I got to see why this deck is so effective, and in particular, one of the things,
perhaps, yeah.
yeah, one of the things that people don't commonly pair with Thundersaur is removal, but that's an example of how, drawing your removal at the right time to get a big Thundersaur through.
Yeah, pretty deadly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to see the Blightwalkers do work. Even there was one game I had in the Invitational where my level 1 Blightwalker he left it on the field for such a long time, and my Patriarchs made that thing ridiculously powerful with with Ferocious Roars. It wound up becoming maybe like a 9-power creature at one point, and he was just still refusing to touch it, and it dealt quite a bit of damage. So it's fun to see even the Blightwalkers have their time as well. So.
Yeah, I certainly liked your 10 health level 1 Succubus that was sticking around in the middle of this game.
Yeah, I love that card. I really do. I think Werewood Patriarch brings a lot to the Necrium side of things, and with my 3 Cold a week and my 1 Dreadbolt and even just Succubus in general, getting my Predators to a heavy level is fairly common. So it's fun. It's both aggressive and defensive. I like the deck quite a bit.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very, very excited for the next round.
And we will see you this weekend. So it's Saturday, January 18th. You can check out additional information. We've got the info section of this video has a link with all the information you need to tune in this weekend. Thanks a lot.